Happy New Year. Happy 2026. If you are watching this in the beginning of a year, if you find it another time, happy whatever time of existence it is. But I have so much I want to talk about today. Also, brown hair, healthy, cut. I just did a workout, so I'm in a sports bra. But first of all, the hair, I feel so much more like myself, even though like this cut isn't really like what I would normally do. It feels really healthy because you guys know this year I went on a journey with my hair and I went to super bleach blonde, like white Pleiadian blonde. And it's interesting, like I spoke about this with my therapist, and so I was super blonde in high school. That was like when I was that blonde last, and I kind of was in college but not as blonde. And then yeah, to go there again, I always loved being blonde, but when I went blonde this time I just could not get used to seeing myself. There were some days where I was like, yeah, this is nice, this is me, and especially like in videos I would like it, but when I would wake up I'd be like, who is she? And it was just also really damaged. And but when I was talking to my therapist about it, it was like I had to go back to, because you know the way that our brain works is we're wired with associations. And so my brain, I'm gonna make sure this is not on loud, my phone, but my brain probably has so much, like the most of my like trauma, human 3D trauma, I experienced it when I was super blonde. And so I think that 2025 being the year of the snake, 2025 just being such an intense year, I felt probably called to that so that I could go deep down and unravel whatever was still living in the subconscious there, which is fascinating because you guys know I talk about this often with my Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis. Is if you don't know, it's my program where you use the frequency of your own voice to program in your dream life and unravel the subconscious blocks, which I did not expect when I first made it. I didn't realize that the blocks would come up like so loud and clear in the dreams or in the perceived reality, like in reflection the next day and following days from listening to it. But what kept happening for me is that my ex-boyfriend, my narcissist ex-boyfriend, who was like actually a narcissist, he kept coming up in my dreams, which I was dating him at that time with the blonde hair and everything. And so, yeah, it was just, that was fascinating. And then the red hair, I've never had red hair. Right after, the day after I started my Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis, I received the urge to dye it red. And that was shocking, but I think it needed to happen that way because I had no associations with that color. And so I was doing deep subconscious work with Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis and also like creating a new timeline where it was like it is a new identity as well. Like I'm living in a house now in Portugal, and I was living in a broken down van towing it around Europe, and like more rooted in chaos and adventure and like all of that, and that served its purpose. But now it's like such a different chapter, and this I think really came to be because I was able to follow that calling to create a new identity for myself just through something simple like my hair, which many of us can do, not all of us, but many of us can do and often do that. But when I arrived here, it's funny that I then had the urge to go back to my natural color, which is like this pretty much. And that's what it feels like when I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like, I feel like I've come home to myself. Like I feel youthful. I feel like this is just me. And I went on a journey, not just of hair, but like of associations and like the neuroplasticity and like rewiring the brain and doing the deep subconscious work and going through that perceived reality journey, which I teach in all of my courses, but in Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis too, of like seeing how the perceived reality is teaching you what like the subconscious is trying to show you about like how it's wired, and you know how it's trying to keep you safe too, and how it's trying to keep you away from things. And so even recently, the past few weeks, I've noticed, and I know a lot of you guys have as well, the people that I've worked with privately or, you know, just friends of mine too, family of mine, it's like the indulging has just been so strong the past couple weeks. And I was just like, okay, I guess this is just what my body wants to do. Not my body, but my mind. If you hear snoring, Aslan is in the other room snoring. And I just realized that that was self-sabotage, because what kept coming through was that as I was, really getting clear today and feeling like super clear and motivated and like back to myself and, back to coming home to myself. I just did this like 2 days ago, the hair. And it was like you fear your own power. And so the subconscious, like my goals right now, the reason why I'm here in Portugal in this space, like part of the reason, but like the main reason why I'm here is so that I can focus on Nove and focus on creating and focus on, this next chapter of what I'm putting out in the world. Nove is the app which will contain the method that is within Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis. And so what I have to be in order to be that version of me. So like when we're trying to manifest, we want to think about the version of us that we have to be in order to have the thing that we're manifesting and creating. And so I have to be clear, I have to feel healthy, I have to feel like stable. And so stable was coming to this house, having all the space. Like I remember when I had met with a psychic before leaving to Europe, and she was like, I don't know if you want to do van life, like you're an Aries and a Sag moon and Mars and Leo, like you're very fiery, and like that's a very small space, you might feel a little like confined. And I did. I liked it. It was cozy. It was like my den for a bit, but then I just, especially with it being not driving most of the time, I just felt like I was like a bird in a cage, and I felt like I was like there's this image that I get when I went to the halls of Amenti last, and I've actually multiple times when I've gone down there, I've seen a version of myself that I was shown was trapped down there in like the Egyptian times, and she is like, she's like feminine rage, and she is like screaming, like she's like trapped in there. And I think that my perceived reality, like being, kind of trapped in the van, trapped in my little round pen that I was living in Italy on the farm because of my ankle injury, like just trapped in Ireland on the island. Like it was oftentimes that pattern was repeating over and over and over for myself. Yeah, so I realized like the space is really important to me. Like that psychic had said that like you're really going to desire having space in order to create and do the things that you really want to do. She said that a sailboat, she could definitely see a sailboat in my life and like with my partner, potential partner, whoever that is. I have no lineup right now, but maybe, at the divine timing, I don't know. Part of me is like, it's gonna happen here. The other part of me is like, all I really care about right now is focusing on myself and my health and my creations and my current relationships, my friendships. And so the space is huge for that. And then the other part is the health. And so ever since being here in Portugal, and I don't think I've really like touched on this on here, but I've been following a low histamine diet. And so I've never actually done this before so I've been diagnosed with mast cell activation syndrome, which was triggered probably from Lyme disease. I was also diagnosed with Lyme. And even though I cleared the Lyme symptoms, and most of the Lyme symptoms cleared with Lyme Stop, which is a treatment in Idaho, and it's kind of like biomagnetism. It's called craniobiotic therapy. It uses magnets. Fascinating. After my 4-month checkup, like 4 months was intense of the detox, and then the 4-month checkup, brand new person, like immediately, bloating gone, the brain fog gone. It was wild. And then brain retraining is what allowed me to start leaving my house again, because I was so sensitive to mold. I could not be around other people that were potentially around other mold. Like I could not go into new environments because, even the smallest amounts of mold would just make my brain spin. and I would like lose my vision, like my clear vision. I would slur my speech. Like it was a lot of neurological effects, but also physiological. Like I would get rashes and just like my body would freak out. It would go into panic whenever I was around mold. And so brainer training really turned that around for me to the point where like the house in Italy was so incredibly moldy, and I would go in there often. I lived in there for a month when my van was in Austria. I would go in there every day when Aslan was a puppy and was living in the house. And I wasn't reacting because I was focusing on my brainer training while I was in there. And we would also have like team dinners and stuff for the farm and the volunteers. And I would be sitting in there looking at the mold, and because it would be on like the ceilings, which is very common in Italy and also here in Portugal. And so I'd be doing the brainer training. So when I got here to this house, I talked a little bit about this. There was some mold like in the bathroom, and then also in the heater. Like there's one heater I cannot use because I think there's mold inside of it. And so I was waking up with my face so swollen. I went down the whole path of like, maybe I will move. And so I went and looked at other houses, and I ended up just being like, okay, nothing else is better. They all had worse mold. So then I was like, I'm going to do my brainer training, like from the bottom, or from I don't know, like how I would have done it years ago. So 1 hour a day. So 21 days to regulate is my program that teaches this. Also 21 days to rewire your mind teaches the same kind of method, but it's not focused on chronic illness. So maybe one of those feels right for you. But so I'm doing 21 days to regulate and 1 hour a day. And so that has made it so I don't have any mold symptoms anymore. I'm not like having the neurological things, which I started having again, which was crazy. And then the face being so swollen, not having that, thank God. But then with that, I was like, okay, so some of the things I've just been living with and like kind of didn't even really, I haven't given thought to them for a long time, because I think I was just so focused on like not surviving, but like living in the chaos of the farm and of Ireland, and like I was like constantly just like figuring things out. Like in the farm in Italy, like just every day, when we would always joke about it, but it was very true, every day something new and crazy would happen. Like animals get loose, and then like we're in the middle of the forest in the middle of the night, the girls are riding the horses bareback through the forest, like, and like very young horses too who hadn't been ridden a lot, or like, you know, like an animal dies or something like that. And so it was always just like all over the place. So I think I just put certain things on the back burner, which I think that with consistency of my brainer training and doing an hour a day, like I think that that's the thing that will ultimately heal mast cell. But I also wanted to give my body a shot of doing the low histamine diet, because like I've just gotten used to like the tingling of my mouth and to like little symptoms like, this isn't TMI because we all have a body, whatever, like burning when I pee. That's a common symptom of mast cell. And so I've just been living with those things. And now I'm like, okay, let's try low histamine. And so the indulging, it was like, I have been doing super low histamine, like finding a rhythm of that here. And maybe I'll share that at some point if you guys are interested. I don't know if there's like anyone here that has a histamine condition, but then I would have like an indulging thing, like a chocolate croissant, or like a glass of wine, or my aunt treated me to that dinner, which was like so amazing for Christmas. But at that dinner, I got so sick and I had to like run home because I was like overheating and I was so nauseous, and it was just like wild how going from no histamine, pretty much like very low, to like a normal diet, like I was like, oh, this is real. Like my body really does have this histamine thing. And so I've just kind of been accepting that like the past few weeks, really, yeah. And realizing that like my health has to come first. If I am here, right? So the version of me that I am choosing to be, like owning this, what I hope to be a successful app, and like being the founder of that, and like really taking myself seriously and my creations and my content and like everything that I do. And I have to be a healthy, stable version of myself, and clear. And so my clarity comes from brain retraining and meditation and like doing all my practices. And then my health comes from what I'm realizing, like my best health comes from the brain training plus low histamine diet right now. And then maybe, you know, if the condition 100% reverses, then I won't have to do this in the future, but I'm willing to do it now that I realize, like, when I take it all away, like how significant like the reintroduction is, and like how I've just not been noticing it because I got used to those little things, even though my body was probably overflowing of histamine. So that means my ins for, and I didn't like officially finish this list, but I'll share them here. I think I'm gonna put on Instagram later, like the ins and outs of 2026, like people do that often. I'm gonna pull up my notes. So the outs that I have, I don't really have like many that I've written down for outs, is alcohol. So I'm not gonna have like any wine, not even a glass, because that really, like, it not only is high histamine, but it takes away your ability to break down histamine. That, and I think green tea and black tea are like, I don't know if it's both of those teas, but like there's a few things that take away your ability to break it down, but also add a shit ton. So even though like wine and everything, especially in Italy, but also here, it's like so part of the culture to like sit down and have a glass of wine. And part of me enjoyed that, but also I'm excited to just, and I've done this before. I've done this for like years before in my healing journey. And I rarely would drink in the past like few months too, but I think that I'm like super excited to just say all 2026, no alcohol at all. And yeah, I just feel like if anything, like it's such a strange part of society. And there's no judgment if you drink at all, but like it's so integrated. I was watching a show yesterday just because I'm like kind of in that right now where I'm like, okay, I'll try and turn off a bit and watch a show. But I was watching the rest of Virgin River, which I saw there was a new season on Netflix because I just found my login for Netflix. And then anyway, and so I finished this show, but I was like, wow, it is just put in your face everywhere. Alcohol in TV shows, in like on social media, and everyone just like romanticizes it. But there's so many things like health-wise. I just saw, I don't know what her credentials are, but she was saying that if we were to readdress the toxicity of alcohol based off of like our whatever company or entity does that now, the toxicology would state that the healthy amount, like the reasonable amount that is not past the toxic limit of having alcohol a year would be half a glass of wine. And so that's how this person was saying how toxic this is for you. And so health-wise, like that plus the histamines, not great. Not good for your liver, not good for your kidneys, not good for your inflammation, not good. Sure, there's, I think, polyphenols or resveratrol in red wine. And so like when I was in Ireland, my family friend, he was saying how his doctor has told him to have 1 bottle of wine on the weekends, and is still like in that mindset of like recommending that for health, when really you can just eat the grapes or like take resveratrol supplement and get your polyphenols through other kinds of food. And so that and then there was also, when I went through nutrition school, there's like some ideas that alcohol helps your chi flow, your energy. Like 1 serving of alcohol is supposed to help your energy flow. So like there's that. There are those like benefits. But then also it's like alcohol, I think, is like the spirit. Like there's like a lot of people look at alcohol as like a dark spirit, like a dark energy. And what I have seen and felt is that when you allow yourself to go under the influence of alcohol. It's the same as like if you have too much caffeine, or if you're too stressed, or you're too focused on negativity, or you watch like scary shows or whatever, and you're not like holding your energetic guard up, you lower your frequency. And then when your frequency is lower, that's when like entities can come in. That's when like other energies can come in and influence you in a negative way, I feel. And so that's why I like to do, like in my New Year's Eve ceremony, there's like the 23-minute clearing, which I think is really important and really powerful to do, and to do often. So if you want to sign up for that, you can do the ceremony at any point. It has journaling, the clearing, and then a vision boarding, which I love my vision board. I am so excited about it. I'm excited about everything this year. I'm excited about having this conversation right now because we're just moving into such a powerful time on Earth. So anyway, the last bit's on the no alcohol, because I just think it's not talked about a lot. And I just, I don't know, I think that it's part of like self-sabotage too. Like like your brain can so easily be like, no, it's like cultural, no, it's like enjoyment, no, it's fine. But really it is like one of those little things, oftentimes, unless you're like drinking to excess, but like it's like one of those little things that just holds you back enough from what it is that you're trying to create or move forward with. So again, no judgment. Whatever feels right for you is right for you. But for me, I am excited. 2026, no alcohol. No, I don't want to say like no treats, no, because like I do think every once in a while it's okay to like have a chocolate croissant. So I haven't put that, I haven't like really figured out like the way of saying that. But what is in for me is fascia release. So I've been working on like fascia and understanding fascia a lot. So I've been doing like these fascia releases in my jaw, because it's kind of like where all of this started, all my health journey started. And so part of me is convinced that like it was just a jaw misalignment that led to, it could have been jaw, or it could have been like the atlas or axis and axis, which are the first two vertebrae of your spine. And so part of me is like, maybe, you know, in basketball, when I know that I started getting TMJ and like neck problems, those just got out of alignment, and then that started throwing off my vagus nerve. And like your vagus nerve is how you keep a regulated nervous system or dysregulated. And so part of me is like, okay, well, let's do fascia release, because I know I have neck and jaw stuff. And also you can do pelvic floor. So I haven't learned anything about pelvic floor. You can do it yourself. I think that there are some practitioners here, so I'll try and find that as well. This isn't on my list, but I also know I'm gonna do more acupuncture, get back into chiropractic, like really, like I'm really focused on my body again. I moved away from like focusing so much on it because it was my life before. And I stopped like sharing about diet. I stopped sharing about like fitness. I stopped sharing about all of that, because I just wanted to like live my life and travel the world and blah, blah, blah. But really I am like so passionate about body stuff and health. So yeah, getting back into those things, really focusing on like all angles. So diet, alignment, fascia is like a huge thing that I don't think enough people talk about. And like so many of us are experiencing fascia tightness and stuckness, and it's like it's all connected too. So like I've been getting plantar fasciitis, and I was at first in Ireland thinking it was because of my ankle. I think partially it is, but it's connected all the way up to your neck and like tongue, and so you can do a tongue release that will affect the whole body. So we'll learn more about that. I'll share more about that with you guys if you're interested in that. Let me know in the comments. Also, I'll take a little moment to say, if you are not subscribed, please subscribe. It means a lot to me. If you would like to, please hit the notification bell, leave a comment, like the video. All these things will help. For some reason, my videos apparently haven't been getting pushed out. People are saying like, oh, I haven't seen you in a long time, and now you just got like pushed back up. So it really makes a difference for people seeing my videos and for it finding the right people. So thank you. The other thing that is in is really being selective with who I spend my time with. I already am. Like I spent no time with anybody in Ireland, really. I mean, I did with family, but really like as I'm integrating back into society and civilization and having a house and like meeting people here in Portugal, and even like wherever I go after Portugal, I really choose to be so selective with my energy, because your energy is expensive. Like I think Taylor Swift said that in an interview recently. I don't like really listen to Taylor Swift or anything, but I think that she's fascinating. Like what she has accomplished is fascinating, and she's really been able to rewire her mind and do a lot of identity work in order to become this icon. And so she said something along the lines of how your energy is expensive and not everybody can afford it. And so really it is that, and that's okay. It is okay to accept that about yourself. It's not like narcissistic or anything. It's just understanding that like you do become a product of the people that you spend the most time with. And like if you are shrinking for other people, if you are pretending to be something that you are not for other people, if you like just cannot connect with them, or like they don't get your humor, or like whatever, then maybe they're not meant to be like the primary people that you spend your time with. Completely fine. So yeah, I want to really be selective and to choose intentionally who gets access to me. And so truly forgiving people is my other in. I just did this meditation, and it was really beautiful on YouTube. I'll try and remember. If I forget, remind me, and I will try and find the link for it. But it was like another thing of like manifestation, but closing up the year, and there was a part about forgiving people, and like we hear it all the time, like you got to forgive yourself and forgive other people, but that just really opened me up to like, when I did that, I saw everything so differently. It's pouring right now, but I saw everything so differently. Like 2025, my brain had to be like, oh, it was a hard year, it was a challenging year, but I was like, actually, it was very beautiful too. Like, yes, there were hard parts, losing baby Chaos, my ladybug's horse, my baby horse, and you know, getting stranded on the island in Ireland. But there were so many beautiful things. Aslan was born. I got to spend time with my family in Ireland, like people that I hadn't seen in over a decade, longer than a decade, like 20 years even. Family members who are old, like in their 90s, who I might, you know, never have had the chance to had I not gone through that experience. Like really beautiful things coming up with Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis. My platforms have grown over 50,000 new followers, like across TikTok and Instagram, and my YouTube hasn't like grown much in the past few months, but overall, like huge growth, huge like lessons, like so much. And when I like finally forgave myself is when I started seeing everything so differently in this meditation. And I was like, oh wow, what a perspective shift. And so the law of one talks about how forgiveness ends karma. Forgiveness is the number one thing, the only thing to end karma, like to end a karmic lesson. And so really you gotta forgive your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your friends, your boss, like yourself, really. Forgive. And like I talk about this often, but like there is no such thing to forgive as when you remember that we're all from the one infinite consciousness. We're all the same, just here growing and ascending together. So that kind of will help when you go on that journey of actually forgiving everybody. But that allows your body, like resentment has been shown in different, I don't know if they're like what kind of studies they are, but people will talk about and have written books about how resentment leads to things like illness, and some people say cancer, and you know, different diseases in the body, is like how toxic resentment can be. And so if we're focusing on our health and our well-being and just, you know, moving through ascension, which is what we're here doing on earth, then forgiveness has to be like right up there with everything else. And you feel so much lighter and you see everything so much different when you do. Showing up even when I'm scared. And so I think that this is interesting. It's like, it's never been hard for me to show up on YouTube. I just feel like long form is so easy, and like these come really naturally to me. TikTok and Instagram don't come naturally to me. I have a harder time with it. And so now that like those platforms have grown a bit, there's like a fear in me that comes up where I'm like the unworthiness thing. And so and the imposter syndrome, which we all get, and it's so normal. So, you know, forgive yourself for having imposter syndrome sometimes. But yeah, showing up even when I'm scared, even when I don't think my content's good enough, or whatever like the mind will say. Showing up even when you're scared. Putting my health above everything else. Daily brain retraining. and we talked about that, and my daily Nove. So like not just my daily dream life sleep hypnosis, but also like going deeper in Nove, which is going to be all using the frequency of your own voice, but will have, you know, the option to do when you're awake and when you're asleep. And there will be like pep talks, and there's going to be like a journal section where you stay on top of like what's coming up, and then you make up a Nove specifically on what came up, like the block that came up, and you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into it. So doing that myself and building the app myself and going deep into that. And so that's kind of what I have here. The rest are just like goals and whatnot, and the rest of like what I would put in my vision board. So those are my ins and my outs for 2026. And so even if, you know, you didn't start the year off with like any kind of crazy manifestation, vision boarding, like anything like that, you are in the right place at the right time. And you did not fall behind. You are like, there's nothing that you've done wrong. It's interesting, I keep seeing how January 1st is like a very strange time to begin the year, when really it begins like in the springtime. And it made me love my birthday even more, because my birthday is March 22nd and spring starts March 21st. And so it's like, it's really when we start to kind of wake up from this deep healing time where we, you know, have so much that we're working through in this season. And so if you don't feel like you're really like getting the New Year spirit yet, then maybe it's because you're more in alignment with Earth's New Year and the clock and the natural cycle of Earth, which would be in the springtime. And so maybe you're just wrapping up like the letting go and the moving through like the slowness of winter right now, and you know, kind of grieving the last bits of yourself that cannot come with you into the next timeline. And that's completely okay too. And it just comes back to forgiving yourself and moving forward and accepting, you know, whatever you have to accept, and then starting to commit to whatever it is that you need to commit to in order to become the version of you who you know you came to Earth to be. So I love you guys so much. Happy New Year, based on the calendar that we follow. And let me know in the comments what your ins and outs are. You don't have to know them right away. Maybe you take some time and write them down, and we can kind of reflect on them together. And if you want to join Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis, or 21 Days to Regulate, 21 Days to Rewire Your Mind, or any of my other programs, I have 21 Days to Know Your Divine Guidance, where you learn the language of your angels and guides. I also have Decondition, which is my 12-week program, and a few other ones too. They're all linked below. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.